Learning from Dr. Joanne, I'm glad that you introduced us with all the special effects. That's wonderful. Good morning, everyone. I'm glad that Dr. Joanne opened the session with this profound talk on challenges, on the situation of individuals, their caregivers, and the entire family system, because that's where I'm starting now. We're looking at the art of inclusion, how we can improve altogether with very cost-effective initiatives and mindsets the psychosocial well-being of individuals with rare diseases and their support system. Art, I didn't put it lightly here. Art is a human activity that involves creative, imaginative, talent, expressive or technical proficiency, beauty, and emotional power. And isn't this a brilliant starting point to talk about well-being of all of us, of course, but focusing on individuals with rare diseases. The SEDRA Foundation, this gives you an idea why I am here as the second speaker of Dr. Joanne, provides opportunities for people of determination, for people with rare diseases. And quality of life can be measured as the number of opportunities that we all have. And opportunities come in different forms and shapes. And that's what we do. We work with individuals, the community, the private sector, along the entire life cycle. Our founding chairperson, Her Highness, Sheikh Al-Yazid bin Nahyan, made it a point that we do nothing else than improving the quality of life of people with determination. And this is more than just working with individuals. We need to leverage the power of the community, of the private and public sector. So, opportunities. How do you think the situation looks like? Opportunities for active participation in the community, active participation and access to the community. Starting with education, healthcare, access to the workplace, leisure, culture. Okay. That's a bit of the realistic depiction of it. There's a number of unrecognized opportunities, huge opportunities, and that's it. Right? We need to recognize those huge opportunities all together. Okay, let's, before we get into practice, let's really set the stage. What are we looking at? More often than not, individuals with rare diseases are perceived as patients, as cases. They're not perceived as neighbors, students, peers, colleagues, or just participants in any kind of activity. And this is a bit of the description of the problem, that we need to have and develop a more holistic view to identify gaps, to pinpoint solutions. Because when you look at those different aspects, like level of independence, some families look at me and say, what are you talking about? Level of independence. My family member has a complex, rare disease. And then you can break down aspects of independence, decision-making, access to information, access to non-formal a level of independence. And that's what we do in our work with families, to really extend quality of life beyond having finally a diagnosis, beyond having access to care. So, and the work that we do with families to develop with them a sense of what is the quality of life is tremendous, and already this shift of mindset is a first starting point to the journey they will embark when they develop a life plan for a family member. So quality of life is a universal concept. It's not associated with people with rare diseases. This is universal to all of us, right? So, but how do we navigate those unique health-related quality of life challenges? And you know this wonderful sentence: if you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. Right? So, and these are, I don't know what you see. Fishes? Fish? A face? Eyes, a face, wonderful. So, but this is a bit how we look at it, right? Would be interested what the colleagues behind you see. Face or fish? And this is just a playful example to indicate we look at the medical model to work at our individuals with rare diseases. We use the social model, or to go a step further, as WHO recommends, and use the biopsychosocial model, which is a more comprehensive view. This is not sensational new, because this concept of biopsychosocial model is around since 20 years now. But in our experience, the individuals don't use it. Often healthcare professionals don't use it. Okay, so what do we do with this? After the inaugural Rare Diseases Conference, it was clear there's not enough data, right? Not a lot of research has been done on the psychosocial well-being. So what we did in our work, we collaborated with colleagues in Germany, Austria, to compare this life situation. We worked with families here in the UAE, and we worked with a small group, 8 individuals in Saudi Arabia. And these are our findings, and there are the differences between across cultures and countries is minimal. And I think this is really surprising, right? Because people here think, oh, if I would live in Europe, if I would live whatever, in the US, my life would be different. If you look at this data, it's not true. So, not surprising, mental health concerns of primary caregivers and individuals. So we talk about anxiety, we talk about clinical depression, we talk about indicators of a mental health concern like chronic sleep deprivation. All of this is present. There's a significant number of 81% face stigma in the workplace. And this is true for both caregivers and individuals. We'll talk about it, why, and what we do about it. And what I find really significant is the number of caregiver communication fatigue. And this is really the fatigue to talk like in a loop again and again and again about which then leads automatically down the road to a poor quality of services because information is late. So anyway, what do we do about it? I know we only have a few minutes, so I guide you very fast through those solutions, and I count on you that you just memorize those. Yeah. Communication fatigue. What did we develop? So a mother told me, if I need to tell one more time to the dental hygienist what my daughter likes and what she doesn't like, if I need to do it one more time in the same clinic, I swear I'll do it myself. I made a training. I can't do it anymore. So, and this is true. And in an ideal world, service providers, we're not talking about healthcare professionals, right? We're talking about the hairdresser. We're talking about the dental hygienist. We talk about the staff in the family restaurant. We talk about supporting teams. Where we go, they all need to have this information. What do? We squeeze it in, right? So families told us, and we were there. In this, can I speak with you 1 second? Right? So in 1 second, families try to convey the complex requirements of a family member with a rare disease. So what do we expect? Will an untrained service provider retain? Nothing. The name. If you're lucky, then you'll remember the name of the person. So what we develop with families are profiles. And as you can see, those profiles don't yell rare disease. Yeah? These are friendly profiles where we talk about interests, likes. There, for example, is a fashionista. So, and this is, if you scan the QR code, then you have access to it. What she likes, what she doesn't like, and what helps her if she's stressed. The beauty of this is, what we train our parents and families to do is to develop a digital version. This way you can control access, you can update the information right away, you can send it beforehand, and interestingly, people read it. We did a small feedback with a few families that will use it in their service providers, and family information retention was there. This is easy, and you can really manage access through this digital platform that everyone uses, Microsoft, Google Docs, whatever. Cheap, efficient, and a great way to fight communication fatigue. Mental health concerns, we talked about it. It is prevalent, but it's not talked about. There is something like a denial, a stress denial, right? Primary caregivers and adult individuals with rare diseases tell us it's okay, I deal with it, right? I deal with it. So the acknowledgement that is really a very common stressor when you deal with it, when you live with it, the psychosocial burden that you have, sleep deprivation, talk about it, anxiety, depression, and just to acknowledge it, that this is prevalent, just ask, how are you? How's your sleep? How do you feel? That's enough. And families tell us, just acknowledgement of psychosocial stress and having this, maybe every interaction when you meet them for consultations, just acknowledging this is a kind of door opener to look for support. What can you do? So, for example, simple things that are around in UAE, that are around in Saudi Arabia, are support groups. model online, accessible, closed groups. We do support for siblings of individuals with rare diseases and disabilities, very unsupported, neglected group, particularly in this critical age between 7 and 14, when they are about to build their self-identity, basic things. And mental health concerns are very much measured also in siblings, young siblings. So just checking in, how are you? How are your kids? And having maybe a few notes in your drawer for recommendations. Stigma and barriers in the workplace. So this goes two ways. As a caregiver, family members are anxious, really anxious, to inform the line managers, their HR, I'm a primary caregiver of a person with a rare disease. What comes with it sometimes is an unpredictable pattern of care, which isn't something that HR really likes to hear. I can't tell you when I will need a bit more flexibility. But what really helps is to have this conversation proactively and really develop a plan, a toolkit. What can you do? In our consultancies with companies, we encourage HR managers, and it really works in the seed, to reach out to their workforce and say, do you care for an elderly? Do you care for someone with a chronic disease? To really encourage this conversation and changing the organizational culture. The same, of course, is true for people with with rare diseases, and my dear colleague from I'm Inclusive, I think we'll talk about it later, even a little bit more details. Rare diseases and access to the workplace is often not even thought about because there's a lack of access to formal application, training, and such. What we do with our business network, we establish roles through trainings, internships, corporate representatives come to community meetings to talk about, to develop solutions. So really, doing this early on and don't wait until an individual reaches the age of 18, 19, 20 and then start to think about it. Volunteering, great ways to get a ramp towards the workplace because people are used to this environment. Limited participation in community in general, there's this push and pull principle. Organizers are telling us, actually, there's no demand, otherwise we would push it out. Individuals tell us, actually, there's no offer, otherwise we would participate. So, Nike concept helps, basic as it is. Encourage your patients as individuals, yourself, dare to claim your rights. Don't say, oh, are you open to host or welcome or enroll people with rare diseases, people with disabilities? Ask. I'm non-verbal. I use a powered wheelchair. Can I participate in your theater workshop? This is a real example. It worked. So really encourage, push and pull, encouraging people to say, yes, I'm interested. We do this, for example, with a very basic social program, Cinema Club. It's exactly what you think. Young adults of articles, whatever. This notion that there is information there is a great, great boost to this perceived lack of opportunities. Again, we talk about art. Now you know it. It's a human activity that involves creative and imaginative talent, expressive by technical proficiency, beauty, and emotional power. So if you think about art as this concept and how we can boost psychosocial well-being, then we are a step further than we were before this conference. Really acknowledging it can be done, and it isn't a technical toolkit that we need. It's just a different mindset. And I really appreciate every one of you that goes out and starts with one small act of art. Thank you so much. I can hear you.
Just a softball question. You mentioned the cinema club. Do you have any other examples of community groups of persons of discrimination that maybe gather regularly or other models of community inclusion that you could mention to us?
Absolutely. So, thank you for your question. It's one of bit of those overlooked areas, the in-between place, right? Between the home, education, workplace, social connections, social emotional outings. There are youth talent clubs. So now, exactly today at this point, a young group of adults is exploring the youth hub in Dhabi. You might say that's a natural fit, youth and the youth hub, but they never went there. So what we do, we engage in social community, what we call urban adventures, non-formal social meetings in Bali and Abu Dhabi, where young adults can meet free of charge, led by experts to explore the community. And just 2 weeks ago, we had an ultimate urban adventure. You know what it is? We took the public bus with people, with a handful of people who were using mobility aids, wheelchairs, basic things, and this forges bonds. And often this is the start, sorry for a long answer to a short question, this is often the start why we do it. They forge bonds with each other. They are in contact via WhatsApp and meet on Zoom. Basic things. So this is really a catalyst.
Thank you very much. Actually, just because you are at the beginning of this one, I think in this area that we need to redefine the rare disease, because we are talking about this disease as a rare compared mother or sister who is taking care of these patients. For example, what I see in our area, they bring a bad patient to the emergency. He is not that sick, but I can recognize that the sitter wants to be admitted to take some risk in the hospital because they are tired at home. They do all things, sectioning, exchanges. So we call this, efforts. They want to take break, and they bring the child to emergency just to be admitted and to take something else. Because they don't take, nobody focus on the people who is around the patients themselves. I think you need to also to give some idea or recommendation about this people who is taking care of, taking care of the patients.
Absolutely. So you touched upon a few really golden nuggets in this entire conversation, right? Lack of data, right? So, we are, what we saw in our small scale research where we talked about 83 individuals, but even all of them, so we ask for chronic diseases, right? We ask for reoccurring diseases to avoid rare diseases. And we ask you to identify as a person with a rare disease. And they said no. And then we matched this diagnosis with general definitions, and they would have a rare disease. But this might be also a first step. Exactly what you said, what is a rare disease and does it make a difference to the patient? The other thing is, caregiver stress is real. What you just mentioned, and I can tell you what we are currently doing is there's a huge project in Abu Dhabi happening, exploring and finding solutions on a governmental level, and we're part of this, to reduce stress on caregivers, despite care, right? What you just mentioned, what can be done. What would be a boost? Where we also discussed the difficult things. Abuse at home, violence, domestic violence, all of this is part of quality of life of caregivers. So we talk on, and this is very discussed.
Thank you everyone for posing questions. Just to the time between the session, we're just going to take 2 questions between each session. Please feel free to approach any of the speakers during the coffee break.
It's so easy for you. So if you have a question for Dr. Tran, ask, just look out for the pink.
Yes.
If you have a question for psychosocial well-being, look for the green.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you.